would like to call this meeting of the Chadron City Council of January 22nd, 2018 to order and invite you to join us in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. As required by Section 84-1412, subsection 8 of the Nebraska statutes, notice is hereby given that a copy of the Open Meetings Act is posted for your examination on the wall inside the door to these city council chambers. May we have roll call, please?
John Coates.
Present.
Miles Bannon.
Present.
Mark Werner.
Aye.
George Klein.
Here.
Keith Crofett.
Here. Mayor, I move we approve the agenda as written.
Second.
Any discussion on the agenda? Roll call, please.
Werner.
Aye.
Klein.
Yes.
Crofett.
Yes, ma'am.
Coates.
Yes.
Bannon.
Yes. Mayor, I move we approve the consent agenda.
I'll second.
And the consent agenda has the minutes for the City Council meeting of January 8th, 2018. There's also some minutes from boards and commissions, minutes for the Civil Service Commission, the Treasurer's Report and Water Report, and also City Sales Tax Analysis Report included in that, and the Fire Membership Update. Do we have any discussion about the consent agenda?
Do they read the income tax or the sales tax thing and say that we're basically right on budget for what we thought we'd get?
Correct. We're just kind of tracking even.
May we have a roll call, please?
Werner.
Aye.
Klein.
Yes.
Crofett.
Yes, ma'am.
Coates.
Yes.
Bannon.
Yes.
First item for business tonight is the Northwest Nebraska Development Corporation Report and Update. Deb Cottier, Executive Director. Welcome.
I swear it was just last week we were here, wasn't
It
it?
seems like it, doesn't it?
Unbelievable how fast time is flying right now. A couple of things to update you on, I guess. We did have our annual meeting on Friday. Most of you were in attendance, so thank you very much for being able to be there. So this is old news to most of you, but immediately following the board meeting, or the annual meeting, we held a board meeting, and we, generally speaking, move our officers up the chairs. And so we elected Philip Jensen from Great Plains Communications as the chair, Carrie Bailey from Edward Jones as our vice chair, Steve Behrens moved up to treasurer. He works for and owns Chadron Lumberyard. And then Corey Sorensen with YST has come on as the treasurer. So, or secretary, excuse me. So then those gentlemen will move on up. And then we seated Ty Hulls as the new board member. As you know, Carrie was reelected. So we took care of that business, and we now have a couple of changes on our working committees. We have a loan review committee, which the treasurer chairs, so now Steve Behrens will chair that. Our bylaws require we have a banker on that committee. We do not have a banker on the board at the moment, so we've asked Jason Carnahan to step in. We've not had anyone from Security First involved in that committee, at least in the time I've been here. So he graciously accepted to do that. We have one project that's in the works. We hoped to have a meeting today, but ended up not being able to have a quorum due to a couple of things, one of which was weather related. So we'll give that another shot tomorrow. Let's see. The State Economic Developers Association, NEDA, has a Legislative Affairs Committee, which I've chaired for and co-chaired for about 4 or 5 years now. We took it upon our organization to raise some money and sent out an RFP and asked to have a proposal or a study put together on the economic impact of tax increment financing. We know that there are going to be, at the minimum, 4 bills in the legislature this year that will address various versions and specifics within the community development law, which allows for tax increment financing. So we thought, since there had been an effort at least the last 3 or 4 years to, in some cases, completely do away with that option for municipalities, we wanted to take a look at the historical data and be able to share with our state senators as well as our other partners what the economic benefit has been for the state. And we went specifically for what we referred to as rural Nebraska, or just a little more clarification there, everything but Lincoln and Omaha. So we are right at this time about to finalize that report. That will, of course, be available to all of the communities. Over 20 communities stepped up and helped us pay for that. It'll be available to us, of course, as well as be an opportunity for us to help further educate ourselves as well as the state senators. The tough part about all of this is we have what we refer to as a short session, a 60-day legislative session. The 4 TIF bills that are currently in the legislature will be heard on Tuesday, the 30th of January, before our committee meets on Wednesday, the 31st. So we will have to, as an organization at least, take a look at those and maybe make a more general suggestion or reference to our policy positions as opposed to taking a yay or nay position on individual bills. We will then make sure that our report is complete and in its best form in terms of clarity to share with the senators, whether we actually have that in their hands by the time that hearing takes place or not. Because there will be, a dozen or so that take part in what they, at the Urban Affairs Committee in the actual discussion, the committee discussion, testimony. So there will be an opportunity even after that hearing date to share information. So I will be headed to Lincoln that week and participate not only in the legislative affairs, at legislative committee activities and our legislative day, excuse me, but that's also when we do this on purpose. That's when the State Chamber of Commerce meeting is, and then they will hold their big banquet that evening. The governor's there and most of the state senators, and it's a great opportunity for us to continue to network with not only our colleagues but other people who are visiting with senators about the same issues. So that's an important piece that we do on behalf of our members that's a little more difficult to measure, but we have found over the years that relationship building is pretty important, so we'll do that the last week of January into the first week of February. I would just update you very briefly about the meeting we held last Tuesday. We had probably close to a half a dozen members of our housing committee, the Chadron Housing Partnership, we're calling ourselves, met here in the council chambers. We used the video system and were able to have an expert, if you will, or at least a person from another community who's worked extensively in the programs that are available for housing. There probably was two things that I really took away from that meeting, and first of all is that this is a long process. This is an opportunity for us to perhaps have an impact on the direction and how quickly we move forward with addressing housing issues, but it's not something we're going to solve overnight. And the other thing that occurred to me as we sat and visited about the programs is not everyone that has stepped forward to be on that committee is going to benefit from government-run programs. And so to say that we have to use this alphabet soup of programs that are available to help us build housing, that's not the only answer. That's a piece of what we're going to be getting at. So I think several of my board members were further educated and kind of crystallized that realization that, oh, well, this isn't a program that's designed to help the for-profit businessman necessarily, but there is enough need, we believe, to do both, to access some programs that will help us do some things as well as better identify where the market rate housing should come from. And with that, I would be happy to answer any questions if you have them.
Are there any other bills in the session that Anita has an opinion on?
Well, not so much needed, but I was curious to read, and I mentioned this at our Heartland Expressway meeting on whatever day that was, Thursday, Milo drove, I don't remember what day it was. We were in Torrington, and there's a bill been introduced by Senator Wayne. He is the new chair of the Urban Affairs Committee, which creates what they refer to as the Build Nebraska Bond Program. And it's exactly what Governor Ricketts has said he doesn't want to have happen, and that is the ability for the state of Nebraska to bond or borrow money to build roads. We have a very strict policy, and it's in our Constitution, that we cannot operate in the red. And so that not only would be something the legislature would have to take up, but it would require a constitutional amendment. So it would be a vote of the people. Don't know at this point if that's something that the governor has softened his position on, or if Senator Wayne is just doing a test balloon to see if he could get some language in there that would allow the discussion at the initiative level. I don't know the answer to that, but I thought it interesting that that's in there. And then, of course, today the bills came out that would literally cut almost every state agency an additional 2% this year and 4% next year. It's a tough decision, and it's a tough position to be in, to have to cut again. I believe the fat's gone. I think we're going to get into some very serious losses of programming, and the tough part about that is how hard is that then to get that back, even when the finances come around. I hope that they'll be strategic and not just lop off a certain percent off of everybody and figure out if there's a place that could better stand the cuts. But I don't hold a lot of hope for that. It's a lot easier just to do across the board. But we will have those discussions with our state senator. I have an appointment with Senator Brewer for Friday morning the 2nd, as well as 30-some other NEDA members who will visit with their state senators. And if no one signs up for the other two panhandle senators, I'll make sure we get a stop in with Senator Stinner and then Senator Erdman. Fun times when it moves that quickly.
Mayor, Deb forgot the most important thing about the economic developer meeting we had last week. She got her plaque for the
We did.
Nebraska Economic Developer.
I apologize. I should have
of the
brought
year.
that.
Congratulations again.
Yeah, the recertification for Economic Development Certified Community, which I am very pleased to have had as many council members and staff there as we had, because it's something that takes a whole bunch of folks to fill out or even to accomplish, to be able to apply for. So, yeah, thanks, Mark.
Thank you. Okay, next item is a public hearing, and this will start at 6:14. And this is for a liquor license application for a retail Class C beer, wine, and distilled spirits on-off sale liquor license for Hilltop Lanes. And Forrest and, you're not Forrest, you're Mike. Mike and Christina Gunwall have submitted an application for this since they have acquired the Hilltop Lanes, and the police department at the time of this was conducting. Have they conducted its background investigation? Do you have anything to say to this, Chief?
Mayor, Council, good evening. Tim Lordino, Police Chief. I don't have any comments. I would just recommend that you approve when it comes time to approve the application, to do so.
Okay, thank you. Any council members care to share anything about this? Anybody from the chamber want to visit with the council about this liquor license application?
Nice to see it's open.
Yeah?
Nice to
bet.
see cars in the parking lot at some unusual times at noon. Great.
And I understand your unplanned opening night due to social media kind of turned into a really big one.
Yes, it did.
It's great. Okay, if we have no other comments, we'll close this hearing at 6:16.
I'd like to introduce resolution number 2018-08 and move for its approval.
I'll second.
And this is a resolution recommending approval of the liquor application for Hilltop Lanes that has been prepared for the council's approval or denial, and it is included in our packet. Any other discussion from the council? Last call for anybody from the chamber. Okay. May we have a roll call, please?
Werner,
Aye.
Klein,
Yes.
Crowfoot,
Yes, ma'am.
Coates,
Yes.
Bannon,
Yes. Mayor, I'd like to introduce Resolution 2018-09 and move forward to adoption as well.
I'll second.
And this is a resolution to approve Hilltop Lanes, aforementioned in the past resolution, same owners, and they would like to be considered as a Keno outlet. Is this all in order? Mrs. Rust?
yes.
Okay.
As far as once Lotto, Nebraska receives local approval, we'll send that off this week to Lotto, Nebraska. They'll be the ones who actually start the paperwork, get everything signed up with the Department of Revenue, arrange with my time to bring the machines in,
Okay.
How long does that process take? A couple months?
probably. Once the approval with the Department of Revenue and arranging to bring the equipment here from Columbus, Nebraska.
Okay, any other questions from the council?
If you're going to play Keno, do the quick pick. I've heard this from several people. Just be nice to the operators.
Okay.
Do the quick pick. Odds are the same.
May we have roll call, please?
Werner,
Aye.
Klein,
Yes.
Crowfoot,
Yes, ma'am.
Coates,
Yes.
Bannon,
Yes. They can push one button or they can push 1,000. So choose the one where they push one button.
I'd like to introduce resolution number 2018-10 and move for its adoption.
I'll second that motion.
And this is a resolution also to authorize a Keno sales outlet, and this is for Joe and Sharon Fry doing business as Friday's 120 Bar and Grill. There is same process here that you just described for Hilltop Lanes, is that correct?
yes.
Okay. Any questions from the council? May we have roll call, please?
Werner,
Aye.
Klein,
Yes.
Crowfoot,
Yes, ma'am.
Coates,
Yes.
Bannon,
Yes.
Item G is for the council to consider applications for LB 840 Community Development Funds. There are 3 applications to consider. One of them being the Chadron Art Center to fund exterior masonry and window repairs to the Art Center. The second one is to approve application of the Chadron Public Library Foundation to fund an exterior ramp for disability access to the annex, which is located just south of the library. And the third one is an application of the Chadron Youth Baseball Leagues to fund replacing the scoreboard on Maurice Horse Field. So 3 applications were received by the Citizen Advisory Review Committee, and that was on November 28, 2017, and they are asking us to take action.
I'd like to introduce resolution number 2018-11. Move for its approval.
Okay. 2018-11 is to approve application of the Chadron Art Center to fund exterior masonry and window repairs to the Art Center.
I'll second that motion.
Do we have anybody here that, from the chamber that would like to visit about this? Yes, sir.
I'm not from the chamber, I'm from the Arts Center.
I'm sorry.
From City Council
Go ahead,
chambers.
Jerry. I got in the chamber mode, sorry.
Pardon?
I got in the chamber
I
mode.
just got me confused. Jerry Moss, Vice President of the Arts Center. And just so you know, our application's been going on for over 3 years now. I don't know if you know that or not, but that's a fact.
Yeah, we are aware of that from all of the
Good.
documentation.
And in all that time, every question that the committee had was always answered. And as of today, I didn't know that there was any outstanding questions. I just found out the results of the committee's recommendation from November 28th. And I'm going to read this from the bottom. It says, "The committee continues to have questions concerning the application regarding the bid submitted and whether other competitive bids were taken, as well as future funding for the Arts Center." Well, none of this has been brought to me since this meeting. And I guess it would have been nice if somehow I could have got one of these sent to me or notified me. And I was only notified last week by Bev that there was going to be a council meeting to hear this. And so I don't know what other qualifications or answers they need, and they disqualified it, our application, without pursuing answers. So that's kind of unfair to us. We have no chance to respond.
Actually,
Pardon?
we can respond here too. I mean,
Okay.
That's not a final decision.
Fine. And I don't know what other questions you may have of me. I can tell you something about the Arts Center and what we do, and what a service we are to the community, just on our long-term renters. We have in the neighborhood of 209 kids that go through that building every week with dance and gymnastics. And with the college, they have a night of dance there. And we even have a couple, not so much kids as senior citizens with the stepsisters. And there's 12 elderly ladies that participate dancing every week. And that's just our long term. That doesn't include, our rentals, our short term with weddings and receptions and any other functions that we provide to the community. The college, their choir comes to our building because they like the acoustics, and they rehearse and they record there, and they do that probably maybe 6 times a year, and there's about 30 kids plus that participate in that every session. So I think we provide a good service to the community, and there are times when, monies are short. We don't make a lot of money, and we do take care of our maintenance as best we can. We put a new roof on the building. We remodeled the kitchen without anybody else's help. You guys helped us with our handicap ramp a couple of years back, which has really been a boon to the people that need it. So that's about much I got. Other than, if I know monies are always tight with you guys and these funds, but we'd be willing to reduce our construction program and back it off and just take care of our windows and let the tuck pointing kind of slide, since it's kind of an issue. So that's what we got to offer to you.
Jerry, I did read all this, and reading kind of, in my opinion, reading between the lines, maybe the committee is kind of saying we don't want to do 100% of it. The other applications that we have for these funds are kind of matching funds. is there a possibility that, we could scale this back somehow, and somehow
Sure.
you
Yeah, we
could come
could
out
put-
with some kind of
Initially we asked for.
lower amount to help you, and maybe have the organization see if they can round up some dollars?
Yeah, I think initially we asked for about $19,000. I think we could get by with maybe 10, to do the windows. And if I do some creative work, maybe I can reduce that and not use all the money. I could turn some back.
And I appreciate the comment that the committee had about the bids, but we know,
We know all about tuck
we know about bids on tuck pointing, and they're hard to get. I'm not even sure would that guy still be willing to do that, the proposal that you had for that amount of money, or
What's that?
the tuck pointing?
I didn't quite understand what you said.
Well, getting bids from contractors to do tuck pointing seems to be a real hard thing to do.
Well, it's kind
Yeah.
of a specialty.
Yeah,
I don't know if you know what tuck pointing is you've got to go in with a grinder and grind out the old mortar joint
yeah.
and take all that stuff that deteriorates over time, and that has to be taken out and put back. And that's one issue that the Job Corps had. We explored the possibility with them to do the work for us, because they do it, but they cited health issues because of the fumes generated by cutting out that mortar joint, and there's something in the mortar that they didn't like, and insurance problems because they have to get up high. So they decided not to do that. And it's kind of a specialty work, and not everybody can do it. So that's why we could kind of step back away from that and concentrate on the windows, which need to be done.
And I think what George was referencing was this letter from Brian Hawthorne saying it was, that this was the bid. There's I don't see a date on this, but
When's
you're just
that?
saying step away from the tuck pointing and just focus on one smaller aspect of the whole project.
Yeah, we can do that, yeah.
So can we break these numbers down into what
Reading the resolution,
painting in the windows would be?
talking,
It's just almost about a split between the
Yeah.
tuck pointing, if you look at the numbers, and,
Well, there's a lift rental for $4,500 per month.
pardon?
There's a lift rental here,
Right.
65 feet. That would be for tuck pointing, wouldn't it? Probably
Well, that was good. That was kind of why we married the two jobs together. They're both high, and we're going to do the lift for two phases of the work. That's why they were kind of married together. But now that maybe we're only going to do one phase, they could do the windows from a scaffolding approach rather than having the rental. And that's what I would like to explore with them, if they could do it that way, rather than renting the lift.
and rather than getting caught up in the details, if $10,000 is about half, $10,000 is a reasonable estimate, and I think I would be more than happy to trust the Art Center that they'll make judicious use of the funds and turn back money that they can't use. Sounds very reasonable. And I think we could just move to amend the resolution, Adam, correct?
Because we're only going to pay for what we use,
Yeah.
and I'll make every effort to reduce that number down.
This is an area that you have some amount of experience in, Jerry.
Well, yeah, but what I'm hearing Jerry say is he will do the windows as they see fit, and then the actual cost may even be less than the half we're talking about.
I'm hoping so. Cost is always a problem, so, yeah, and I would like to do that,
In terms of the committee, and I know fortunately Rob is not here this evening, one of the other reasons is that the committee voted for denial of the application is the concern that this would be an ongoing maintenance type of issue where every time something needs to be maintained or every time something has to be fixed, the Chadron Art Center would be coming back and requesting LB 840 with zero match coming back, and it would basically be a long-term subsidized program for the Chadron Art Center going through that process. And that was one of the concerns that the committee had when they were making their recommendation for that during that committee meeting.
Is there something in the guidelines against that?
No, that's it, but it comes down to, you know, is this going to be a long-term continuation of, are we going to continue, you know, funding the Chadron Arts Center without being able to utilize the funds for other projects?
But
And I
to
know-
that point,
And I know in
we
the-
try and take care of our own maintenance. You know, we did the roof. We did our own kitchen remodeling. We took care of that ourselves. All our minor stuff like plumbing, electrical, we take care of that. We have Roberts Electric and Hensey Plumbing, who does really a great job for us. So
Didn't you have a water freeze break last week?
pardon?
You had a pipe break last week, didn't you? A pipe frozen break?
Yeah, well, there was a drain pipe in the women's kitchen, or not kitchen, but in the bathroom, and Hensey came over. We took care of it. We pay for that. You know, we don't have a lot of money. You know, we work out of what we can get. You know, and it's only when we kind of get to the point where we need some help.
Well, one of the things I guess that I would say, the Art Center provides a great benefit to our community, and they have major maintenance concerns. It all goes in the hopper, and perhaps, you know, if it's a regular maintenance concern versus something else, as we're saying here, that maybe it's maybe that would be put to the back of the line. But as we've seen throughout, you know, our council time here, this money is not being expended entirely on a regular basis. I mean, we don't have an embarrassment of options, and we're deciding exactly what we want to do. Every now and again we get an application, and the answer is always, well, we've got this amount of money and that's enough for this. So if we have the money, and if the Art Center is a good value proposition for our community, and they're clearly, you know, operating and taking care of concerns on their own to some certain extent, I personally don't have any issue helping them keep that facility in fighting shape.
I agree with you, but are we talking about $10,000 to get the windows taken care of? I don't think it's going to be probably any place near that.
You think it's gonna be more?
No, these will be a lot less. If this whole project is $19,000, looks to me like there's paint and caulk and wood and some labor, and even if we take some of the unforeseen materials or expenses and things, you know. I guess my question would be, do we want to just consider getting the windows taken care of them for now? And then that way we don't deplete the funds almost entirely, if the other two are considered, if the other two are.
I think Miles has said, let's go with $10,000.
Yeah, let's go with 10,000.
And my question is, do we go with 10,000, or do we just get the windows done and then submit a payment for that?
I don't think we can do that, John.
I
I think we gotta give them a dollar amount.
I think up to $10,000.
Yeah,
You can
and-
make the motion.
You can make up to 10,000.
To me, I'd like to see, give them the $10,000 and see if they can go out and round up the other monies and do the whole thing.
Yeah, it'd be great to get the whole thing done, I agree. Because yeah, you do have some of the efficiencies there,
Yeah,
doing them both.
and then it becomes kind of a match, and
I can do that.
I don't want to get bogged down in the details of,
Right.
you know, it's their project, and I trust them to do it. I would make a motion to amend Resolution 2018-11 to read $10,000
And for window repair?
for the construction of exterior masonry and window repairs. I think we leave that the same, and if they can do it with the monies that they have, I don't think that there's any issue with that.
Okay. I'll second that.
could we possibly say something along the lines of $10,000 in matching funds? And then,
I guess I would say I'm okay with them doing the windows and not having the matching funds, but then
don't have
gathering
they don't have any
funds.
funds at this time.
Well, they
so
don't
we
have
wanna-
any funds at this time.
Because I think we could do it within that $10,000.
Yeah. And I would rather see the building be taken care of and not see further, degradation of the building.
Beautiful building.
Yeah.
Well, I mean,
that's
if
it.
we have an understanding that the $10,000 is going to go to the maintenance and upkeep of the building, I don't have any problem with that.
And then it's, again, you say you can't get it all if you don't, just do the windows and you spend $4,000, turn back to $6,000. I think that's okay. And if you guys can do a fundraiser, get $9,000, then we do have matching funds. I think that flexibility is just fine.
Well, if we can't do it within the 10, the Arts Center will come up and make up the difference for them,
Yeah, exactly. And then we kind of approach that idea of, we're giving you part, but we're not doing the whole kit and caboodle, and I think that's very reasonable.
Okay. Keith, you have any thoughts?
And I just, based on what you just said, I don't know why we can't say up to $10,000.
Yeah, I think that,
Up
I think
to-
that's what,
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that's what Miles said, isn't it?
yeah,
Oh, I thought he corrected and said no, he'd rather just give them the straight 10.
is hereby approved in an amount of up to $10,000 is how I would like that amendment to read. That, I think, by my understanding, this is how it functions, is that they get access to the funds, expend what they can, and again, if there's leftovers, it gets returned into that pot of money to be used for something else. Am I wrong, Adam?
I think you're right.
Okay. We have a motion to amend. Any other discussion?
So we gotta do two votes, don't we?
Right.
We
Vote
got-
on the amendment and then vote on the
Got to vote on the
resolution.
amendment. Okay, may we have roll call, please?
Werner,
Aye.
Klein,
Yes.
Crowfoot,
Yes, ma'am.
Coates.
Yes.
Bannon,
Yes.
Now vote on the resolution as amended.
Okay, we'll vote on the resolution as amended. Any discussion before we vote? And this is just the resolution for the Arts Center now. Okay, may we have roll call?
Werner,
Aye.
Klein,
Yes.
Crowfoot,
Yes, ma'am.
Coates,
Yes.
Bannon.
Yes.
Okay,
Thank you.
got up
Thanks,
to
Jerry.
$10,000 or spruce it up?
All right,
Looking forward to
we're
it.
going to do it, so thank you very much. Appreciate your time,
You
guys.
bet. Well, thanks for coming, Jerry.
And thanks to the Arts Center Board. Mayor, I'd like to introduce Resolution 2018-12 and move for its adoption.
I'll second.
And this one is a Chadron Public Library Foundation application for $3,604 to construct an exterior ramp for disability access to the annex, which is located just to the south of the library. And the annex was used on a temporary basis to accommodate, or is being used on a temporary basis to accommodate library programming efforts and continued library expansion and renovation. This is pretty much a matching request. They have received $3,500 from a grant and $438 in donations, so the requested amount is $3,604. And I think this definitely falls within the realm of community development by putting an ADA ramp in there. So, any discussion?
But there's some, I think, I thought I saw George back there, didn't I? Oh, there's George.
Hi, George.
You wanna talk to us?
If you'd like, George Ledbetter, I'm the president of the Library Foundation. I believe, unfortunately, Marguerite V. Miller, who prepared the application, is not able to make it tonight, but I believe it was approved by the LB 840 committee. As the mayor said, we do have a grant that matches the amount that we're asking for the city, generously made by the Sioux County Foundation, which I thought was very nice. The recognition that our library serves not only Dawes County and Chadron, but also residents of Sioux County, Adam, and other places too. We get a lot of regional traffic into the library. The annex has been used. The Friends of the Library, our president of the Friends of the Library is here. They're Book sale is now an ongoing thing, at least once a month. We're using the library for meetings of the Library Foundation, for other activities, clubs and so on that the library has. And handicap access is very important. We have a lot of senior citizens and folks that we want to be able to get in there that can so that they can access it. You know, that's been an issue in the library itself for a long time. Fortunately, you all got at least the current elevator repaired, so we're up to code, I think, on that. Not where we'd really like to be on that until we get our expansion done. But that's about all I have to say. We do have a bid on that, and we hope to get started quickly, but the weather is, of course, possible impediment to that.
George, I have a Friends of the Library question.
Yes.
That stack of books my wife's going to donate for the past 2.5 years.
Mm-hmm.
But we always seem to miss the date.
You can bring them over now, anytime. We have a place for them.
Yes.
We had just the garage in the back of that house, and it was filled. You couldn't get any more books in there, and there's no storage space in the library itself. So this is one of the big benefits of having that annex, is that we
Out of
can,
my garage and into
out of
yours.
your garage and into ours, and into the hands of readers. That's the main thing. There is not a proper bookstore in Chadron, and a community of our size needs a bookstore. You know, even recycled books, is, at least there's something for people to come and buy a book in town, and if they want to read something. So
I have
we
a
think,
question also,
yes, sir.
George. So this is for a ramp outside,
Yes.
coming up to the porch.
Mhm.
I've been in there a couple times. I'm thinking there's a little bit of a rise between the porch and the house, isn't there?
Just
or
a
is
little
it flat?
It's pretty flat. There's
Okay.
not anything that would be an impediment to someone in a wheelchair or anything.
Great.
No.
Yeah.
No, just a little sill there. There is, the porch was separate, must have been an add-on or something, so there's a little bit of a sill there, but.
Okay.
And 32-inch doors inside?
The doors are old. I guess we haven't measured them for that. I don't know as far
I
as
was thinking, I
that's-
mean, we're getting them inside and then limiting them to one room.
Oh, it's pretty open
Oh, no,
once
it's
you get
pretty open.
inside.
It's
Once you get
open
past
once
the
you
front
get
porch.
inside, yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah,
That
you can
interior
wheel
door.
around two
We've got
major
the
rooms
basement,
and-
there is a basement in that house, but we've got it locked, so nobody can go down there. So we've got everything sealed off, so there's no danger from that.
But they will be able to roll into the front door. It's not one of those tiny 26-inch.
No, I believe they'll be able to go in, yeah. Mhm. We've got a new door on that, was put in some time back with one of our renters. Mhm. So, yeah, I think we should be in good shape that way. And I do see that our memorandum of understanding with y'all is an item on the agenda following this, so we'll have that regularized as well. So we do very much appreciate the support that the city has given to the library and to the foundation, and we're still working on our expansion plans. I just received word today, a friend from France is sending a donation to our library expansion project. So we have international support for the Chadron Public Library.
Maybe we can get a little of that Saudi money, huh?
Yeah, right. I'm all for a fundraising trip to Dubai. We can get this thing done.
You don't want to go to
Okay.
I would make the sacrifice, Mark. I would be willing to do that to support the library.
Any other questions and revs for Resolution 2018-12? Okay, may we have roll call, please?
Warner.
Aye.
Klein.
Yes.
Crumpet.
Yes, ma'am.
Coates.
Yes.
Bannon.
Yes. Mayor, I'd like to introduce Resolution 2018-13 and move for its adoption.
I'll second. George Kennedy.
And this is to approve application of the Chadron Youth Baseball Leagues to fund replacing scoreboard on Maurice Horse Field. And this is also a cost share. It looks like it's around $19,973. There will be the cost to this. And the baseball group has committed everything but $10,000. There's also going to be volunteers involved in the installation. And they'd like to have this in place by the 18 baseball season.
Fantastic.
Yeah. And it looks like a pretty neat scoreboard.
Yeah, it's even just the basics.
Compared to what we have.
LED
And that is
sign.
that is a big draw to our community out there. I mean, they have tournaments out there, and it brings tax dollars into town, lodging dollars into town, so I certainly think this is a great idea.
Recognition of sponsors and advertisers, not just having to hang vinyl banners. This is a really, really nice setup.
Let's hope they don't leave it on after the ball games are over, though, because those of us that live
No.
on the other side of North Chadron Avenue, sometimes those lights are on until like.
Yeah, I was talking with one of the members of the committee or the group, and I think this is actually going to be remote controlled.
Do we have anybody that's here to talk about it? Come on, get the young guy up there.
I don't necessarily, Bob Tinsvold, president of the Chadron Youth Baseball Organization. I don't necessarily have any comments, but I'd be more than happy to answer questions, and I do enjoy your comments so far. It does bring a lot of outside income. We have at least 2 postseason tournaments on that field scheduled for 2018 already, so
Great.
Probably a dozen teams all told between the 2 tournaments, so we'll be here for 4 or 5 days. So
Is the fence fixed?
the fence is fixed. Yes, we don't have all the privacy slats installed yet. We had to order some more because some of them went with the old fence, but the fence is up and fixed, and the scoreboard will be a really nice addition.
You think you can get her in place by May, huh?
If we get it ordered now, we've been promised that we would have it in plenty of time, and I just got to find somebody to drill some holes and get the new I-beams, support I-beams put in, so, yep.
Okay. Any other questions from the council before we vote? Anybody from the chamber want to have anything to say about this? Can we have roll call, please?
Werner.
Aye.
Klein.
Yes.
Crowfoot.
Yes, ma'am.
Coates.
Yes.
Bannon.
Yes.
Resolution number 2018-14. Somebody introduce that, please.
I'd like to introduce. I'd like to introduce resolution number 2018-14 and move for its adoption.
I'll second that. And this is to approve a memorandum of understanding for use of the facility named as the annex. We did acquire this in a partnership, and I'm going to just refer this to our city attorney.
Well, I've reviewed it, and I think you probably all have. It passes muster as far as I'm concerned. I mean, there's out clauses, and it kind of says what it needs to say. So, any questions?
And this is solidifying what was talked about 5.5 months ago, that we'd bring this back, for a full memorandum of understanding after it operated for a little while, and this just kind of solidifies what was already agreed upon and discussed back at that time.
If Adam's okay with it, then I guess he's our legal rep.
I'm okay with it.
Any discussion from the council? May we have roll call, please?
Werner.
Aye.
Klein.
Yes.
Crowfoot.
Yes, ma'am.
Coates.
Yes.
Bannon.
Yes. Mayor, I'd like to introduce resolution 2018-15 and move for its adoption.
I'll second.
And this is a resolution to recommend purchase of one new 2018 mid-sized police special services sports utility package SUV. And Chief, you want to tell us anything about this, or?
As you know, back in November, we put the quotes out, the specs for the quotes. We received them back in on December 7th, and it took me a little bit of time. I had to do a little bit of research on the Dodge Durango because, as you know, we had a little bit of an issue back in 2014 where we actually had ordered one in and it didn't meet our specs. So talking with GMC of Chadron, we talked with them several times, went to Rapid City and actually looked at the Dodge Durango that is on the road with the Rapid City Police Department. So after going to Rapid City, I'm more comfortable in making this recommendation to you to approve the quote from GMC of Chadron for $25,692 for the Dodge Durango. As you know, it was Wallstrom Ford submitted a bid for a Ford Explorer, which came in at $26,995, and then Eagle Chevrolet submitted a bid for a full-size Tahoe, which was $36,400. Chevrolet just doesn't make a mid-size SUV, so the Dodge Durango is $1,303 cheaper than the Ford Ranger, or excuse me, the Ford Explorer.
And is the rear interior vinyl or is it carpet?
That's one of the concessions that the interior's carpet. So our drivers, we're going to have to buy one of those weather guard floor mats to put down. The rear seat, they're going to cover with vinyl. The only issue that we have, and in my bid spec, I said preferred vinyl. I mean, obviously, when we put somebody in the back of our car and they would happen to vomit on the floor, it's much easier to clean vinyl off than it is to clean carpet off. But atypically, that doesn't happen too often to us. So they are going to cover the back seat with vinyl before we get it.
By they, you
As long
mean
as you're happy.
the dealer?
Huh?
The dealer's going to cover the rear seat?
Somebody in Rapid City is going to do it.
Oh.
Apparently, they've done several cars for Rapid City Police Department. We talked to them, or we talked about the vinyl seat. Rapid City's had some issues with that, but obviously they're going to move a lot more people through that vehicle than we are. I'm pretty comfortable with the vinyl seat option in the back.
But that's covered under the bid.
That's covered underneath the bid, yes. GMC will do that at no cost to the city.
When we were putting this out, we had some discussion about the value of this trade-in.
Yes.
We won't get, keeping it, can't see that we're going to profit by getting $2,000 worth of use out of this trade-in.
No, we only have one Crown Vic left, and that's not if you've seen it, it's the white one that gets driven around, and we use that for our school resource officer and probably the college resource officer. But no, I think it's reasonable for us to go ahead and trade that vehicle off. So,
Is there any issues where you're switching to a different make of, like, swapping equipment if you need to between vehicles?
that there is a cost to that. As the main part of that is the center console that we put in it, the law enforcement console. Obviously, one that fits a Dodge Durango is not going to fit in a Ford Explorer. We've gotten to the point where we've got Ford Explorers, and it just makes sense value-wise for us to buy the Ford Explorer versus the Taurus. But we can't switch those consoles out. The rest of the equipment, we should be able to switch over. The radios, the radar, the in-car camera, the light bar, that type of equipment is not vehicle specific. The cage that we have in there to house a prisoner is going to be vehicle specific. They're not super expensive. Depending on the ones we buy, we get them out of Spearfish. They're anywhere between $400 and $600, or we can buy an aftermarket product to put in there, and they're about the same range. So if you had a Ford Explorer, you could take one out of that and put it into the Ford Explorer. So those are about the only two pieces of equipment that we wouldn't be able to move car to car.
Does the Crown Vic have all that equipment?
It does.
Okay.
Yeah.
So no matter what we chose, that just wouldn't transfer over no matter what.
No, and of course we're, the Crown Vic that we're getting rid of, that console's not going to fit in a Ford Explorer. We are going to the next car, if you approve that. We have close to, I think, 101,000 or 102,000 on one of our current Ford Explorers right now. So, if we went to another Ford Explorer, you'd be able to pull the center console out and move it across if you got another Ford Explorer. But, as you know, several of those cars are going 7 days a week, 3 shifts a day. So they're putting on miles. You think of miles for a car that we would personally own with 100,000 miles, but you remember that these cars have a lot of idle time to them. So they may be sitting on an accident, they may be sitting on an incident, so that idle time is detrimental to the car itself. So they 101,000 miles, that's a lot of time for a car. If you get a chance, you should come down and take a look at that Crown Vic, the shape that it's in. It's done well for 100,000 miles. So
Does the Durango have the V6 in it?
It does have a V6 in it. It has an option for a Hemi engine, the V8. The Ford has, I think, an EcoBoost, but we don't quote them for the larger engines. There's no use for that with us. Last year, I wrote this down, with the trade last year, the Explorer came in at, the one we bought last year came in at $27,200. So, I mean, you look at the quotes, we're pretty competitive, so.
Okay.
Any other questions I can answer for you?
You got a color in mind?
Black. It's less distinguishable at night. It's less distinguishable at
Doc's
night.
gonna give you a call.
Huh?
I wasn't going to say it.
Doc's gonna give you a call.
It's one of them stealth units, Chief.
Yep.
There we go.
Okay,
Okay.
thank you.
Thank you.
Any questions from the council? Do we have roll call, please?
Warner,
Aye.
Klein,
Yes.
Rofet,
Yes, ma'am.
Coates,
Yes.
Banner.
Yes. Mayor, I'd like to introduce Resolution 2018-16 and move forward its adoption.
I'll second.
And this is a resolution to look at specifications for one new 2018 or newer compact track loader with trade-in options. Hey, there it is.
Oh,
Somebody snuck a picture up
I
there.
don't know about that. Tom Minke, Utilities Superintendent, and then we've got Terry Birnbaum from the streets, and we've got Scott here from the parks. We're buying this as a Public Works utility unit, and we're here just to ask for a recommendation for the specifications and then go for a bid on it. And answer any questions that we can right now for you.
So what manufacturers do your specifications fit? I tried to look on the internet and I came up with Bobcat, Caterpillar, and John Deere.
What we did is we went to the specifications that we would need for our pieces of equipment that we want, and then we asked them to meet our specifications. So it's a mixture of a lot of them.
So there's not just one brand that meets the specifications?
Nope. And that was one of the things that we wanted to make sure we got our specs in first to make sure that we know what we're getting and go from there.
So we will have how many possible local bidders on this?
One local.
Yeah.
Bobcat's the only one that's local.
Okay.
We've had John Deere's out of Scottsbluff, Cat's out of Scottsbluff also, and then Yammer came and talked to us too, which is a ditch witch, and I believe they're going to be out of Grand Island, whether they bid or Kearney,
one of the
whichever
two.
one they bid.
So.
And it will go out for publishment too, so if Case wants to look at it too, they're more than welcome to. We have had, three of the dealers? Two of the dealers?
Two of the dealers. We had John Deere and
Case, or Cat.
Caterpillar who were in here with their demos.
And how much is this in the budget for?
What's that?
How much is this in the budget for?
You'll have to look at the budget. We don't want to give that number out, so we have that.
Which was 34,000.
So it's a fair bid.
Split 10. Give me just a second, I'll tell you.
I'd just like to say that I'd like to have any one of those three.
Yep, and that's just
I could do some
it's whoever's doing
serious
it.
damage to my land with one of those.
But we're also looking at trading in the 95 skidster that we have currently, and then we also have a John Deere 670 grader that we're going to be trading that in as well on this piece of
Well,
equipment.
maybe put in a bid on that.
After everything they've said on that grader, I'm out.
Well, there you go, skid steer.
You're going to hurt its feelings.
But that's-
If it's got any feelings left after everything that's been done to it. I think it's like 22,000 hours if my memory serves me correct.
I don't know.
And the ring gear's gone, so
Circle.
And I believe it's 31,250. I think that sounds, or is it a little more than that? Okay, so then that is.
they're
sorry.
specifically trying to stay quiet, John.
Yeah, that way the bidders have their own idea.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, one last question. I see that you say both trade-ins must be seen by representatives of the bidders, so they need to come to Chadron.
We're asking them to do that so that they don't come in here and go, oops. That's
Wow, this is
basically
way
what we're
worse than
doing.
we thought.
But we also wanted them to see some of our attachments here while they're here, so that they can see it's in our specs that we want them to be able to attach to some of our current stuff. And if they can't do it, so it's not a question of, oh, we didn't realize this. We've tried to think of all the excuses that they could come up on us. That's why we want them personally in here. And if they decide not to, I guess they can bid, and because there's nothing in here that they shouldn't be able to accomplish with their bids.
Okay. A lot of specs.
The quick attach thing makes all the front things basically across the manufacturers able to get stuck on there.
You've got a pretty good collection of implements for that now, don't we?
We do have several things already that we're wanting to keep, but we also have in the specs a few things that we're wanting to add into it too. But that's optional equipment. It just depends on what we have. But we're looking at an angle broom, a grapple, snow blower, those kind of things that we would have on that particular unit as well.
But that wouldn't replace the snow blower,
No.
right? That just separate stuff.
Not the big one.
Nope, it's just an optional piece of equipment depending on what we have.
So give us an example of what each department will use this machinery for.
I know for me, I'm going to be able to use it out there at the well field and now at the city dams, cleaning up brush and taking care of some of that kind of stuff there.
Our department, we use it daily, almost daily on everything, as far as gravel removal, base, putting base in, demo, loading trucks, asphalt, when we lay asphalt, we use it for that. Load the sand truck off and on when we don't have a loader close. We use it for about everything.
And same thing with us, post hole digger. We just installed that fence out of Shenway. That's what we use. That the older machine with the postal digger, and it's just getting kind of shot. That's the same postal digger we used to install the playground equipment 20 years ago.
Okay.
Wow.
So, we same thing. Snow removal. Tracks in the park are a lot easier. We found out there than the excavator.
And if you can get the grapple thing next ice storm, it'll half the time for cleaning up the mess.
Absolutely.
Yep, and it's also high enough that we can put it in the big trucks too.
That boom will fit in every one of our trucks. That's what it's designed.
It'll load into the new
It's
big
tall.
truck.
Tall enough, yep.
Right.
Wow.
High boom.
Yeah.
And it's also got high flow specifications on it, so if there's other attachments down the road, for an example, one of the things that I know we're talking about too is a stump remover. The one that we currently have is getting a little bit aged.
We actually purchased a new one,
Oh, you did?
and it will
Okay.
attach to this machine.
Okay, perfect.
This keeps getting better and
Okay.
better.
Main hydraulics great.
Thank you, guys. Okay, so if we vote in favor of this resolution, we are authorizing them to obtain quotes for the purchase of said equipment. Any other discussion? Roll call, please.
Warner,
Right?
Klein,
Yes.
Crowfoot,
Yes, ma'am.
Coates,
Yes.
Bannon,
Yes. Mayor, I'd like to introduce resolutions 2018-17, 2018-18, 2018-19, and move for their adoption.
I'll second.
Okay, and these are 3 special designated licenses, all by Knights of Columbus. One is for the Ducks Unlimited Banquet at Assumption Arena. Another one is a Circle of Light Banquet at Assumption Arena. And the third one is the CSC Golf Classic, and this is also at Assumption Arena. Golf Classic is in May. The Circle of Light is in April. And the Ducks Unlimited is in February. Everything in order on these, Chief?
They are, Mayor, and I would recommend approval.
Okay. Any discussion? Can we have roll call, please?
Warner,
Aye.
Klein,
Yes.
Crowfoot,
Yes, ma'am.
Coates,
Yes.
Bannon?
Yes.
I'd like to introduce resolution number 2018-20 and move for its adoption.
I'll second that motion.
And this is a resolution to approve Paul Reed Construction in the amount of $75,000 for furnishing equipment, labor to crush concrete.
And this is the grant that we received through the Nebraska Department of Environmental Quality. What it is, this would be the cost share portion that the city will provide back in terms of the labor and equipment, and then Paul Reed's cost is up to the $75,000. So we'll go up to the total that was approved through the grant, and then we'll stop at that point, and then hopefully keep reapplying to continue that process on. So this is just formalizing what the state has already approved to get done through that grant.
I mean, it looks like about 9,400 tons is what this will do.
Correct, and I know it's going to go a long ways in terms of the work that Terry's going to be able to accomplish when they get done crushing that, as well as clean up a lot of those stockpiles out there.
What we're going to do is we're going to take about half of our rubble pile, and we'll get rid of that. And that's about what this is going to be able to do. And as far as the aggregate gravel, whichever you want to call it, it'll be utilized on the gravel roads. It'll be utilized under the base of streets. It'll be utilized in alleys. You know, anywhere you can put red rock, we can put this stuff too. And what we like to do with it, when we use it in a base, we'll use it as a lower base. And then as we come closer to the top and get ready to pour concrete, we like to use the red rock limestone just because it knits together so much tighter. But it all works good as a sub base, and it also works good as a gravel on our gravel roads.
It's 1.5 inch chunks, so I mean, these are kind of bigger chunks, right?
Well, it's about the same as what we're putting on the gravel, right? You know, the limestone's about the same size we get.
Okay.
So
And just that the limestone, whatever, fits
Yeah.
together?
Yeah, limestone's got different, they call it different angles of the rock. It doesn't break, it breaks differently than what concrete breaks. So then it knits together better.
Makes sense.
And that's just the way limestone is. We're really fortunate to have that limestone in this area. A lot of the people that we talk to back east, and guys in the Sandhills especially, Cherry County rolls through here 3 times a week, every day for 2 loads to run back and forth. That's how far they go to Merriman. One of the superintendents down there that works for the county, I talk to him often, and you know, he just loves that stuff that they use down there. And he says, "You guys are spoiled. You got it right there." And you know, down in the Sandhills, they just don't have that stuff. So it's hard for them to get something to knit together as tight as that stuff is.
Very cool.
And this come from the Highway 20 project, didn't it, this concrete?
Most of it did. A lot of it came from the First Street project and the Main Street project also.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Stormwater.
So it's been there for a while.
Yes.
My smart aleck has to ask, who went and weighed the 9,400 tons to know?
Who weighed it?
Yeah.
Well, that's what it'll come out when they get done crushing it. That's what the pile should weigh.
Yeah.
And they actually got a weight deal on their loader as they take it to the pile. A scale that keeps track of it.
Oh, really?
You can also survey it.
Wow. Okay,
Very cool.
looks good. Any other questions? Can we have roll call, please?
Werner?
Aye.
Klein?
Yes.
Crowfoot?
Yes, ma'am.
Coates?
Yes.
Bannon?
Yes.
Okay. I move to pay the bills.
Second.
I guess if George is seconding them, he's got no questions, right? Can we have roll call, please?
Werner?
Aye.
Klein?
Yes.
Crowfoot?
Yes, ma'am.
Coates?
Yes.
Bannon?
Yes.
We have city manager report.
So The only thing I have this evening is just want to give a big thanks to the J.H. Wellman Foundation for their generous grant that we received for the state fly-in this year to help fund that in the amount of $7,000. It's going to go a long ways in helping fund the air show component of that, and we're getting down to the nitty-gritty of getting that planned, and just letting everybody know that's going to be the week of June 8th, 9th, and 10th. So we're really excited about that.
Get your shirts at City Hall and your water bottles.
And we've had several nonprofits come alongside and say, yep, we're going to help out with that, so that's really encouraging. Everybody's here, so we don't have to excuse any council members. We'll start with council closing comments with Councilman Werner.
We got young Miss Stein out, our state champion golfer. Thanks for coming. Thanks for being a great competitor.
I don't have anything.
Drive safe.
Drive safe.
Yeah, have you been out there?
Oh, okay. I just think it was really encouraging tonight to see the council come to agreement on all three of the applications for the LB 840 Community Development Funds. And we've got everybody in a good position there. Look forward to the new scoreboard. I've been in the library annex a few times, and it is an interesting building. I haven't been in there since a lot of the books have been placed in there. But and the scoreboard out at the baseball field, looking forward to seeing that come the spring. Other than that, I don't have anything.
I just wanted to mention our city crews and the snow removal. We did have quite a fair amount of snow. I took the opportunity this morning to follow Terry around in the snow blower, and I had a sick kid, and he needed something to keep him busy, so we watched everybody move snow and dump it, and it was a pretty efficient operation. I'm happy that we are fortunate enough to have a city that clears residential streets, which is not a luxury that everybody has, and I'm happy that we have Public Works Department that works together so well and does a lot of goes above and beyond making sure everything happens. And yeah, I shoveled out my driveway, but that just means that there was a snowplow that came by and cleared the street, and I didn't have to try to get through with some other way. So thanks, guys. Appreciate your hard work.
Ditto to that. Okay. Everybody's had their comments?
I move to adjourn.
Second.
Do we have a roll call, please?
Warner.
Aye.
Klein.
Yes.
Crofut.
Yes, ma'am.
Coates.
Yes.
Bannon.
Yes.
Thank